Always helps a bit when you are unmuted. Alrighty, so we're going to go ahead and get started to honor your time. We know how valuable and important it is. So we just want to thank you so much for joining today's annual Hour of Code webinar. The CodeMonkey team wants to thank you so much for joining us and spending your time with us today. Oops. So we are doing today's Hour of Code webinar for teachers. Please follow us on all of our social media accounts, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You can follow us at CodeMonkey at CodeMonkey STU for all of our social media accounts. And as well, make sure to check out our CodeMonkey blog. We always share lots of fun unplugged activities and different things that we've been up to here at CodeMonkey. During today's webinar, you can also tweet at us using the hashtag that you see here at the bottom, CodeMonkey webinar. We will do our best to answer any live tweets during today's webinar. My team is also here to answer any questions that you may have. So please chat with us along the side, or preferably placing your questions in the Q&A. If we don't get to you right away during today's webinar, we do have a Q&A session. And then following today's webinar, a survey will pop up. And once you take the survey, a professional development certificate for your time today will be emailed to you. So let's go ahead and get ready to write code, catch bananas, and save the world. So first, we're just going to go ahead and introduce the team to you. It's always nice to know who you're looking at, who you're going to be working with over this next 30 minutes. So I'll go ahead and begin. My name is Lena Saleh, and I am the Professional Development and Sales Manager here at CodeMonkey. You can email me at lena.s@codemonkey.com or follow me on Twitter at lena@codemonkey. At Lena CodeMonkey. And we're going to go ahead and introduce the rest of our team.
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm Brett Eskelson. I'm the VP of Sales here, so I work with a lot of different schools and districts and partners that are getting started and ramped up using CodeMonkey, and we're excited to have you all here and answer any questions you might have.
Great, thank you, Brett.
Hi everyone, I'm Molly Schubach, also on the sales team, so also work with schools that are looking at adding CodeMonkey to their coding programs. Thanks for joining us today, and again, send your questions through the Q&A or the chat box.
Awesome, thank you, Molly. I'm going to answer this question just really quickly. Jane, thank you so much for your question. Should we sign up for a free account to best follow along with this webinar? You don't have to sign up for a free account quite yet. Today is just going to be a walkthrough of everything, and then following up directly with today's webinar, then I would suggest signing up for an account. Alrighty, so once again, if we don't answer your questions immediately during the webinar today, we do have a Q&A follow-up session or Q&A session here at the end of today's webinar. And if we don't get to your questions, then we'll make sure that we will follow up with you directly after today's webinar. So we first just like to talk about what is the Hour of Code. Obviously, all of you guys are joining us too because you already know a little bit about the Hour of Code. But the Hour of Code was really just designed to be an introduction into computer science, really designed to really show that anybody can learn coding and that coding can be very fun. It's not really about learning all the basics of computer science within 1 hour. It's not realistic. It's really just a way to open up the window and show that coding is really for all, and that as long as you take the leap, that it can be easy and fun and engaging for students. So it's really more about just teaching both students and yourselves that computer science is fun and that you can learn at any age, which is really something that you can't do with a lot of things. And the computer science is not limited to 1 hour of coding. There are thousands of events that happen during Computer Science Education Week that go beyond the hour of code. We have one that we'll share with you today at the end of our webinar as well. And it involves activities other than just coding that are all under the umbrella and celebration of the Hour of Code. One of the biggest things that we've seen during COVID-19, as you all know, is that there are so many job opportunities within the digital space that require students to have some sort of an understanding of computer science. And you can see that with just how even the retail season or Black Friday went this year. It was completely all digital, thus meaning that we need more people to fill those roles. So there's a lot of openings in those roles, and they tend to just, we really want to open the window to all students and all learners and not just a certain type of learner. We know that others are saying there is a need for computer science. Of course, one of my faves, Bill Gates. And then there's also governors sharing the importance of computer science and how important it is for students to learn computer science. So our webinar objectives today, we talked about what is the Hour of Code and really how it kind of began. We're going to share CodeMonkey's story, how to find us. We're going to reveal our newest CodeMonkey course. And then what sorts of things will you need to consider when running your Hour of Code course? And then we will explore the courses and then have time for Q&A at the end. So pretty fast and furious in this 30 minutes. So bear with me and I hope you're ready for the ride. So CodeMonkey was founded or really born in 2014 with the CodeMonkey's co-founders. There are two brothers and their best friend. They founded the company. They're computer scientists from very young age. They really loved doing computer science, and they found that when teaching students traditional coding languages, they just didn't really learn in the same way. And so when they started to make it more gamified and fun using CodeMonkey, students really grasped the concepts and they were more engaged and they felt less restricted to learn how to code. So today, CodeMonkey is a leading, fun, and intuitive curriculum. We do have students worldwide. I think we are almost at 15 million users. And it's where students can learn to program in real coding languages. We also have many teachers who have taught themselves to code also throughout the program. So that's exciting too. What makes CodeMonkey a little bit different is that it's really fun and easy and it's more gamified. It's user-friendly and intuitive, and really we have some tools to put you in the driver's seat. A lot of things can be restrictive. You may not know the answer, so we really try to put you in the front seat driving the car. And it's also extremely easy to roll out as well. So now we're going to announce CodeMonkey's newest course. I don't know if you've been following along in the email threads, but we've been dropping along puzzle pieces along the way. So our newest course is Space Adventure or Space Monkey. So we'll get into what that looks like. It's really fun, and I think your students are really going to enjoy it. So we currently have 9 Hour of Code courses, and so we're going to get into exactly what all of those look like. It's really exciting. It spans really the grades K through almost, if you use the Moonlander with the physics, almost through 10th grade. So pretty big span. So before we get into diving into the courses and what all of that looks like, let's talk about where you can find us for the Hour of Code. So for Hour of Code courses, you don't need to have a teacher trial. I'll show you how you can do that. But you can actually showcase and code, the students can code without having to have a login for the Hour of Code. So how you will do that is, let's go ahead and do that together. So Hour of Code last year, it used to be code.org. It hosted now its own domain. So it is hourofcode.com. When you go there, I just clicked on the try it. So I'm here at the main page, hourofcode.com, and I click on try it. And when I click on try it, then it will bring me to the courses here. And over along the side, you can click on any specific computer company, edtech company that's here, and you can find us at CodeMonkey Studios here. When you do, you'll see there are 2 categories, beginner and comfortable. So in the beginner courses, we have our Space Adventure, Beaver Achiever, CodeMonkey Junior, Banana Tales, Dodo's Math and Coding Adventure. And then in our comfortable, think about that as the more advanced courses. That's our Game Builder, Trivia Chatbot, and our Moonlander. Moonlander is the most challenging out of all of the courses. It is physics-based concepts. And so just keep that in mind with your students. If they don't have much exposure to coding, we want them to have as much fun as possible and to not feel frustration. So that's how you can locate us here through the code.org's page, or another way that you can find us is by going to, codemonkey.com/hour-of-code. Or you can scroll down to the bottom of CodeMonkey's website. In the footer, you'll see Hour of Code and you can find it there. When you do, when you do get to the Hour of Code page, what you'll see is the Hour of Code activities. You can sign up for a trial here if you would like. The trial does include 100 seats and gives you access to basically all of the Hour of Code with all of the features, the teacher resources, student accounts, and all of that. So here are the Hour of Code courses. What happens when you click on any one of the courses that you want to take, you can start playing right here without any login. Some other things to note on these Hour of Code pages are it tells you what grade levels they're for and what concepts will be covered. And then there's also teacher notes and standards if you want those as well. But in the teacher notes, when you click on Access Teacher Notes, it's going to give you an overview, what things you'll need. So I see some people asking me what devices students should use and what you kind of need for the setup. It'll be all located here within each course. And it'll tell you all about it and then how to prep it. There are student certificates that you can download beforehand. We'll talk about that a little bit more. And then there is a trailer and different things to kind of get your students excited. So we have one of these teacher notes for every single course that we offer. So just something to keep in mind there. Also want to sign up for a teacher trial, you can do that on any of the Hour of Code courses, or you can click up here in the right-hand corner at Sign Up. And when you click on Sign Up, so it will not let me do that, but it will let you choose how to sign up there. So that is there for you. And like I mentioned, 100 seats just for the trial. It is just a 30 days, 30 students. Sorry, it used to be 30 days, 30 students. Now it's 30 days, 100 students. Okay, so now let's get in and talk about our Hour of Code courses, where we should start, who they work best for, just so we can go ahead and do this fast and furious for time. I'm going to answer this question here. Do students have to log in? Do students, sorry, lost that question really quick. Do students have to log in to access the Hour of Code activities? They do not, but if you would like to have some of the features, which I'll show you here in just a minute, you do want your students to have an account. Okay, so now we're here on our Hour of Code courses. So CodeMonkey Junior is our pre-reader course. It's really for pre-K, K. It's really about computational thinking. This is the only course here that we have that is app-based. It is the only one that has an app for the course. The rest of the courses will work with an iPad, best used with a keyboarded device, just to kind of keep that in mind. Except for, oops, I didn't mean to do that. Oops. Sorry, guys. Except for the courses that require Python. So those are something that you want to make sure that you are using that with your students, a keyboard device. It's really important to have a keyboard device. Also, real computer programmers type on a keyboard. So something to just kind of keep in mind. Our Beaver Achiever is a block-based course. It's really for grades 1 and 2. It works through fundamentals of the coding concepts, just like all of the other ones do. It's really fun. You help Beaver build his wall up. And there are a few other courses with our more advanced packages for that. Our Dodo Does Math is supplemental and includes addition and subtraction, measuring distances. There's also multiplication inside of that one. And then they also do some angle measurement where they pick up a protractor and use that. So that's one of my favorites, honestly, especially being a former 5th grade teacher. And then moving right along, we have our Coding Adventure course. This is the first course from CodeMonkey itself. It is in what we call CoffeeScript. Well, not what we call it, an official language called CoffeeScript. It's a web-based language. It's just a not very syntax heavy. It's a much cleaner code for students who are learning how to begin coding. Syntaxing, curly brackets, all of that can be really difficult for students. So we really want to get them excited about coding, and this teaches them the fundamentals. After that, we have our Game Builder course, and the Game Builder I'll just mention this, Coding Adventure should be done prior to students doing Dodo Does Math and the Game Builder. The concepts that they used are covered in this one, so you would want your students to do that first. I also will answer this question. There's some people asking about the recording. We will send this recording out after, and it's always available on both our webinars page and our YouTube channel. So the Game Builder course is event-driven programming. Students will work through that. And then our newest space adventure course is also in CoffeeScript as well. It's so much fun. I just recently played it as it's a newer course. The students work through space and they have to program him to move forward and backwards and then work to eventually get him to his spaceship so he can go home. And then we have our Banana Tales and Trivia Chatbot. Those are both in Python. Banana Tales, you help this baby monkey collect his, you have to help feed him by using this car to get to him. And then the Trivia Chatbot is exactly what it is, a chatbot that does trivia that the students program and work through, and that is Python. Sometimes I suggest that students do Banana Tales before Trivia Chatbot if they don't have much experience coding, just to kind of get them familiar with Python itself. And then the Moonlander course, like I mentioned, is similar in the same way that it's set up to the Game Builder course, but it is working with physics concepts. They work with thrust and acceleration, and they have to basically land the Moonlander onto a pad. I'm not the best at playing that game because I'm not very good at playing these games, but students rock it out of the water, and it's great to see them doing that as well. Okay, if you're ever wondering, we do have our CodeMonkey course page. It does have an alignment there, and then you can also see that on the Hour of Code course as well. So now let's go ahead and explore the courses so we can kind of dive into that and explore some of the teacher features that will really help you when doing this Hour of Code virtually or in person as well. Okay, so I am logged into my CodeMonkey account, and you'll see I have some classes set up here. And I'm just going to go into the back end of the, well, let's do the courses first, and then let's go into the back end. So I'm going to go to the courses. You will assign this for your students. Like I mentioned here on the courses, it will tell you what type of language it is and then what grade level it should be for. And so you'll see this is a block-based course and that kind of thing. But what you'll see in for these Hour of Code courses, you'll want to look for the Hour of Code courses. If you have an account, you'll need to make sure that these are either assigned or unassigned to your students so they can see them. So in the Beaver Achiever course itself, let's go into this one. The students really love this. I'm not sharing my sound with you. There are lots of fun things that fun sounds and animations and things that happen with it. So this is just a drag and drop. They need to help this beaver fill his dam because he wants to go swimming. There is a storyline that is associated with it. Something to mention, if students are not logged in for the Hour of Code activities, what happens is the students move through linearly through the coding concepts. And so you'll see I'm logged in as a teacher, so I'm able to do wherever I have a star score is the challenges that I've completed. With students doing the Hour of Code activities, just keep in mind if they don't log in with an account, their progress will not be saved at all. So they'll have to, if their computer crashes or, the Hour of Code, week of Hour of Code is always busy for all the Hour of Code, code.org usually crashes during that time. And so does most of those web pages. So if that happens, just keep in mind their progress will not be saved. So that's why we kind of suggest you do a teacher trial, but totally up to you. So they'll progress linearly through these coding concepts. All the while this is reporting back to you. You'll see we got a star score. So 3 stars, shortest, most concise, 2 stars, an extra step, and 1 star, I like to say, are the struggle busters. And so that will happen that way. And once they get to the end of the concept, it increases in complexity and they learn harder concepts as they progress through. Here, they're working with if and else statements and tying those all in together there. So pretty fun way to do that. So let's look at our Space Monkey course, Space Adventure. So we can see that newest course here. And in this course, everything always starts out with a storyline. Gordo here is a teacher assistant, just like in Coding Adventure. Here we'll see that we need to program him to move up. So he's floating in space. So instead of stepping, he's moving. And so these buttons are really great because they also type out for students. And so that you're not slowing students down by how they're coding, by the spelling or functionalities of that as well. So that is our Space Adventure course. And by the time he gets to the end, Gordo's also giving some tips along the way as well. And as he works along through, that's also reporting if you have an account on the teacher side of things. So I'll show you that. And I'm going to show you one more course and then we're going to get into Q&A. I see we have lots of questions, so I want to be able to Molly, that's yes. Are you able to change that?
No.
Okay. Okay, so actually, yeah, you do want that. Okay, so I have my classes set up, and I'm gonna. Oops, sorry, I did want to show you one more course that will the game builder and the space. The Moonlander will look similar, but let's go into the Moonlander as in the how it looks is exactly the same. You'll see the instructions on the left-hand side, scripting on the middle, and you're playing and creating on the right-hand side. So we do say this is for more advanced. As you see, the concepts here are a little bit more challenging with velocity. You see a little bit more curly brackets and different things like that are happening. You basically have to get this by adjusting the velocity and the thrust. You have to get this Moonlander onto its pad. So you'll see that this is for a more advanced coder. And as the students are working through, these will highlight for them and tell them how far they progress. So if they, like I mentioned, if they don't have an account, something happens, it goes down, they will have to start over from the beginning. So those are all there for you to be able to use. And because we're getting short on time, I want to show you a little bit more functionalities. And if you want to see more of the courses, we can do that during the Q&A. So here in the teacher resources, when you have an account, all the lesson plans are located here for you, but I want to show you something specific is the solutions are located here. So you have access to all of the solutions for all of the Hour of Code courses. All you have to do is select the course. And when you do, it will pull up a 3-star solution for whichever challenge the students are working on. So that's something to also keep in mind. On the Hour of Code page, there is a place for students to print out certificates. We do have the certificates located here. They are also in the media kit. So in case you need those, I recommend taking those certificates, doing a program like Autocrat, where you have the student creating a Google form and attaching it, and then it will auto-generate it for your students. Unless you have a small amount of students, it's easier to print those out. But we all know students love certificates no matter how old they are. And then we'll get into the My Classrooms side of things. So I have seen a few questions about how students sign on. Do we have single sign-on? We do. We have students can log in using single sign-on through Clever or ClassLink. They can also log in with their Google accounts. It's really easy to add a class code. You just share the class code with them, and they're able to log in that way. Or we do have Google Classroom integration where you can just straight import that for your students. So there's some different variabilities for that. If you're interested in that, I would recommend going to our help center, and there is a getting started guide for teachers. And I would just recommend checking that out for that, since we are just more so fast and furious at this time right now. Another thing is when I'm in my classroom, there is this progress page, and the progress page contains all the student data. So I just wanted to quick mention that. All of the teacher solutions are along the top, and then every single star shows you exactly how the students did that. So this is a way, if you're doing this in person or virtually, you could post up this progress page, and it reports in real time. Those stars, when we work through on those challenges, are being reported right here in the progress page. So it's just a really good way to host that virtual Hour of Code event so the students can see it, and it also gives them a little bit of competition as well. And if you can sort by progress too, to see those students that are on struggle busing. If you're interested about learning anything more about these functionalities, we have some really great webinars on our webinar page that will talk through all of these. It's how to set up and manage your classroom. I would recommend checking that out. Okay, so I know that was fast and furious, meant to be fast and furious. So what are some things that you need to prep? And I want to leave time for our Q&A. What are some things that you need to prep? Definitely doing your certificates, like I mentioned, doing some self-generated. So you download the template, and then you put it in a program like Autocrat. It's free to use. The students will fill out their name and maybe the date, and it will populate and send it to them, or you can have it just send to you, and you can download files and you'll have them right there for you. Easy to print and easy to share. I always highly recommend testing out beforehand. I know that no matter if you're hybrid or in person, sometimes connection can be an issue. Sometimes it could be something, especially with an iPad. iPads are tricky, especially if they're not most recently updated. You know, even with your phone, there's a new release, it gets slower, those types of things. So just those things to keep in mind as well. And then giving your students logins beforehand is important. You don't have to, but if you would like to, it's always important to create that before the hour of code so they spend as much time coding as possible. That's what we want to have happen. So some things to consider for virtual versus in-person is in-person and virtual, no matter what, you have to plan. So making sure you planned out the activities that you want the students to be working with. If you're doing in-person, I always suggest rotations. So doing some plugged in activities and doing unplugged activities. I like to do those throughout the week. If you're doing virtual, you can also do unplugged activities as well. You can give students an activity, and I'll share this on the next one where you can find some unplugged activities. You can have them share it via Flipgrid or make their own slide deck of showing students how to do an unplugged activity. Maybe you take one of the puzzles from CodeMonkey's webpage, you put it in your Google Classroom, and you have the students tell you how they would solve it using those code cues from the bottom. So those are just some different ways to do in-person versus virtual. Unplugged activities, and I see a lot of people asking me if the slide deck will be available. Well, this will be posted on the YouTube channel underneath in the notes. We always share the notes there for you. So CodeMonkey, we do have some unplugged activities. You can find that on the blog page, actually, some really great unplugged activities for you to utilize during this time, whether in person or virtual. CS Unplugged is one of my favorites. Obviously, everyone knows code.org has them as well. Another one that is really great is Barefoot Computing. They have some really great unplugged activities like hand washing. That's an algorithm. So a lot of really great computer science resources for your students. They are more along the primary range, so just keep that in mind, but we will share this out in the notes within the webinar as well. Ooh, that was fast and furious. So we talked about the Hour of Code, CodeMonkey Stories, how to find us, our newest course, the Space Monkey course or Space Adventure. What our Hour of Code courses are, setting up for the Hour of Code courses, our technical requirements, the teacher notes, where you can find those. We explored some of the courses, and now we're going to do some things for Q&A. Paige, she's one of our teacher ambassadors. She has been sharing with you that we also do have a CodeMonkey Superfans group. We really encourage you to collaborate with one another as well. And I see Molly shared some information regarding the Hour of Code for you as well. And then there were just some really great questions. Do students have to log in to access the Hour of Code courses? They don't. Up to you. About the teacher trial. So the teacher trial is 100 students, but it's only a trial for 30 days. So that is there for you. We just extended it. It used to only be 30, so that's exciting. And we also had another question is, can you share your classroom with another teacher? You can. Within the classrooms page, we have some really great resources in our help center. So let me just show you how to do that. So if you have an account, even if you don't, in the help center down here, you can type in, I would recommend checking out this Getting Started for Teachers guide here. It has everything you need to know, how to add student accounts, how to create classrooms, how to share your classroom, how to set up a co-teacher, which is how you would share your classroom. So that's a really good one to know as well. Will this be available? It will on our webinars page and via YouTube. So I hope that is something that you're able to check out as well. We'll also send out a recording more than likely tomorrow for you guys to be able to view that. What is the best way to advocate for CodeMonkey during our Code Week? Through code.org or through CodeMonkey's website. The Hour of Code, actually, if you do it through here, it does take you straight to our CodeMonkey page. So really either one works for us. It'll just take you directly. It's just another way to take you to that page if you can't remember how to get there. Do we have anything for 4th and 5th graders for Hour of Code? We do on the Hour of Code page. Let me just get there really quickly. I mentioned this as well, but Coding Adventure, Dodo's Math, the Game Builder, those are all really good for 4th and 5th grade. We do have, if your students have a little bit more experience, then you could do the Banana Tales as well, but I would just recommend sticking with those ones for now. You're on the Hour of Code website, and it looks like there are 5 that include grade 5. Okay, great. Yeah, so there are quite a few activities that are there. It's now, code.org has it laid out a little bit easier for you to kind of navigate. We do have it, like I mentioned, on ours too, on the main CodeMonkey Hour of Code page as well. Does it work with Google Sign-In? We do work with Google Sign-In. The students can have a classroom code, or you can also import your Google Classroom as well. Can multiple teachers collaborate and be one-on-one, which I just answered that. Can you share the Unplugged Activities website as well? Yes, I will share the slide deck in the YouTube notes. So I just saw somebody ask me for the URL for this specific one. It won't be uploaded until we're finished, but they're there. But otherwise, we do have this webinars page, or you can find us on YouTube. We do have a playlist that's just teacher webinars. There will be a certificate following today's webinar. So as soon as we finish this and you're out of here, there will be a survey sent to you and you'll fill it out and you should get an email with your certificate for that as well. Okay, I see some really great questions. Molly or Brett, is there anything that I missed? Which activities, oh, I see this one question. Which activities are best for middle school students, grades 6 through 8? I definitely recommend the Space Adventure for the older ones. I also would recommend, let me just go to our main page, the game builder, but having them play Coding Adventure first is going to be important, especially, I don't know how much exposure they have to coding themselves, and the trivia chatbot as well. So these right here, you'll see it says grade 6+. So these ones here on the bottom are really going to be your bread and butter, and the banana tails as well. Molly or Brett, is there anything else that I missed?
No.
Nope.
Okay, so I know there was a lot of questions. M. Harris, I see that you're asking a question if you teach more than 100 students. We're happy to follow up with you via email after today's event. So as always, we just want to thank you guys so much. We want to honor your time. We said half an hour, so we went a few minutes over. But we just want to thank you guys so much for joining us during today's event and all of the great questions that you have surrounding this, surrounding the Hour of Code. If you have follow-up questions, please feel free to reach out to us. And oh, one thing I just wanted to mention is we are having 2 Hour of Code events next week for students. So we invite you to ask your students. Both of our founders, Jonathan, the 2 brothers, are each hosting their own webinar, telling their own stories about how they became coders and their story. And we are doing a live Q&A session with students. So if you haven't done that, you can find that also on the webinars page. You can register for that right there. And so we're excited to share that with students as well, how code can translate beyond just the walls of the classroom. So once again, thank you guys so much. If you enjoyed this webinar, like us on Facebook and all of our social media accounts. Please tag us in any photos or any pictures that you have with your Hour of Code event in your classroom. We want to share it out and celebrate you and all the work that you're doing. And we just want to thank you guys so much for taking this time today. Remember to write code, catch bananas, and save the world. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.